Brought to you by our sponsors: William Richmond Inc., Farmers Home and Auto Insurance, the Bobkowski Agency, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, McNeil's Group Properties, Chesapeake's Bounty, Buddy Lee Landscaping and Contracting, LLC, Chesapeake Plastics, the Charleston Senior Community, and R.E. Graves Heating and Air Conditioning. Now, here's a weather alert update from JB Weather.
And hello everyone, I'm Forecaster John Bordash with you with a morning update, 5:13 this morning, giving you the latest updates on what we're talking about this morning. And honestly, not too much has changed since last night in terms of the forecast. So I know a lot of people want to know how the roads are looking. I can try to give you a tour around our camera network. There's not much I'll be able to show you at this point. I can only, try to. But regardless of what I am or am not able to show you, kind of the overall theme today is that we're not really recommending travel at all. This is a look down towards Lexington Park, 3-notch road at Chancellor's Run Road. You can see freezing rain falling. We just saw that going on radar. So we know freezing rain's falling. We see the roads look wet. We know then that there's likely going to be some slick spots this morning. And just as we kind of tour around a little bit, we're just going to kind of move around the radar network here. And again, a lot of these camera images are going to look like this, so you won't be able to see too much. Down here towards Callaway, you can see it. This is 246. You can see up here we can see that rain is falling, likely freezing on contact with surfaces. Coming over here out towards Nanjemoyne. Again, these cameras at this point in the day are kind of hard to use. Up here towards Brandywine, this is a little bit north of the activity this morning. Traffic seems to be flowing all right at the moment, but I would still use caution as you head north this morning. If you're going to be traveling anywhere, you're going to have fewer issues the further north you head. Let's see. Let's head over here. Again, these cameras this early in the morning, they just... Yeah, and you can see, we have some, and this is 50 at 2, exit 23. So we have some issues this morning. And that's evident. We could see that here. So I would definitely be prepared. Regardless really of where you're going, that we're going to run into issues. Taking you back over here towards radar this morning, this is kind of the scene we're looking at right now. And I want to make sure I have the right screen up here. Freezing rain is definitely the most prevalent this morning for our southern communities. So much of Calvert County, much of St. Mary's County, the southern half of Charles County. This is where we're looking at issues, and this is where I think we'll look at issues over the next couple of hours. The National Weather Service did put out this new discussion discussing the freezing rain threat. Freezing rain will be the most likely where it currently is, really, again, for our southern communities, but I would really be aware that across all of southern Maryland. And we'll be talking about new ice accumulations potentially of up to 1/10 of an inch. So on top of what you already have, this should taper off by noon, but travel it really is not advised, especially in this purple zone. So if you're headed down towards Richmond today, down towards Tappahannock, up along the northern neck, or through southern parts of southern Maryland, or over onto the eastern shore, you're going to run into some issues because, again, as we pull, I'm going to actually take you over to this version of our radar and kind of give you a wider view here. And if I can actually come into radar here, you all know I like to use my pen tool because I really get in here. If I could get, there's a lot going on the computer screen right now. All right, here we go. So let's just get this out of the way. And I see a couple people saying we have some power outages, and yeah, that is true. If I can pull up. I'm going to try pulling up the SMECO website. And again, this is something you all have access to. I'm not looking at anything that I have special access to. I know some people do think that. We do have couple of power outages this morning. Currently, 685 customers sit in the dark. The majority of those, and I can actually just bring this over here and kind of show you all what I'm looking at. And then we'll get back into radar. And I personally like to just look at this by zip code. It's easier for me instead of looking at the little dots. So many of these are centered down here in Southern Calvert, Southern St. Mary's. But, I mean, even still, I mean, this is 685 people out of 168,000. So, I mean, there are power outages this morning. I mean, we're dealing with freezing rain, but we're not looking at a lot of them. It looks like we have one down here out towards, this looks like the Chesapeake Ranch Estates, a little bit of an outage. We have a couple up here, right up along, I believe that's St. Andrews Church Road, where Route 4 is. Kind of over here, I mean, 184 people out in Lexington Park. So, I mean, are there outages this morning? There are. They're not widespread, though, and I didn't think they would be. Kind of coming back in here, I mean, you can see temperatures in our region. Again, maybe Southern St. Mary's, you're looking at temperatures a bit above freezing, but really, I would say anywhere kind of north of this line. And actually, what I could do, instead of me just drawing, I can put on our freezing line. Let's get that loaded up. Let's get this to the newest update. Let's get this, show our temperatures here. Yeah, so with this blue line, which I will draw over it because I know it's a little difficult to see on your end, especially if you're on the phone, kind of right through here is our freezing line this morning. So we're looking at all of this precip that's streaming in like this over top of the cold air, so that's going to be leading to issues. I see, let's see, driving from St. Mary's Hospital to Great Mills. I mean, just use caution. I mean, I'm not going to tell you anything you probably don't already have you don't have an idea about. Just use caution if you need to travel this morning. I mean, we know that there are icy roadways. We know that there are slick spots out there. We know that that's the case. It was the same thing we were dealing with yesterday. So if you need to travel, just use caution. Could you do it? 100%. But we're looking at freezing rain really trained into this area, and that's going to continue, I think, to be the issue as we head through a lot of, at least this morning. Taking a look at Futurecast. So, I mean, this is the model for right now. It looks pretty dead on. I mean, maybe those immediate coastal locations, and then in southern St. Mary's County, you're a little warmer, so it might not all be freezing rain, but I would treat any rain as freezing rain this morning, kind of given the setup we have. Moving it forward here an hour towards about 6 o'clock, over towards about 7 o'clock, and over towards 8 o'clock. It just sticks around with us. I mean, let's see, heading to Annapolis in an hour. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, the people that are like directly in my life don't typically listen to me when I give them travel advice. So I don't know how many people that ask me like on the live streams, should I alter I think people are kind of looking for an answer. Like, I don't know. I mean, I probably would. That's just me though. Because you're going to run into issues as you travel northward, because that's about an hour and 15 minutes to get up to Annapolis, depending, I guess, on where you are. I always take the time in the reference of I grew up in Lesby, so it took me about an hour and 15 minutes to get to Annapolis from Lesby. But kind of depending on where you are, and really no matter where you are, you're going to run into freezing rain issues, especially like where you are right now. Up towards Annapolis, it may be a little better, but I would still expect issues. This is Futurecast here showing us 8 o'clock this morning. I mean, it's trying to mix in a little bit of snow, but I think the big message here is not look at the specific color for your town. The general idea is areas southeast of DC where we are going to be dealing with sleet and freezing rain. That's just kind of the general idea here, because I'm not sure if this, like what's being represented here is snow. It's actually snow. It might be a little bit more like sleet. Moving us over towards 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock, it tries to maybe bring in some more of a snow-sleet mix and a sleet-freezing-rain mix. We'll see if that actually ends up happening. We'll see if this tries to put that in. I mean, it shows maybe some light snow accumulation, but I wouldn't get your hopes up for seeing snow today. I mean, it's possible, but as we head over towards the lunch hour, then by noon, we're starting to see this clear out. So this is noon. So again, we're really talking about a time frame from you know, now through about noon for freezing rain impacts. Christian, what about north of Charles County? How will the weather be? I think you should have been able to see that here. I mean, north of Charles County could really be anywhere, but if you're if I come over here, because you can kind of see the lines a little better. Here's Charles County. Kind of try to outline it for you. My best attempt at a drawing. So you're going to run into more issues the further south you head. So areas closer to DC, well, you might see some light freezing rain and some snow and sleet pellets. This is really focused as more of a southern type of an event, what's going on this morning. So I would really focus on areas from this black line points to the south and east of that black line. North and west, and potentially, if you might have some issues up along 95. So, you might have some issues. But the biggest issues I really think are going to be, it's going to be down here in our region. Let's see. It looks like just rain right now in Leonardtown. Again, freezing rain and rain look the exact same. When we talk about icing, I have noticed a lot of people have this idea that, when we talk about icing, that they're going to see actual ice from the sky. No, freezing rain, I know it has a different presentation here on radar, but freezing rain and rain look the exact same. This is why I hate forecasting freezing rain, because unless people actually see, an actual snowflake or something outside their door, they don't believe that it's happening. And freezing rain, it's just hard to kind of communicate that message. But freezing rain isn't going to be an issue this morning. For a lot of the region, the only area that might be doing a little better is this area down here in extreme southern St. Mary's County. And I'm talking south of Great Mills, down towards St. Mary's City, Scotland Ridge, Piney Point, Callaway, St. George Island, Tall Timbers. This region down here might be a little bit better. And yeah, that does cut. So that, I believe what you're talking about, Lance, is, was this graphic. And yeah, this covers, this discussion area that we're watching for icing concerns covers a large region this morning. And we can kind of see that. Coming back over here to radar, we zoom out a little bit, and that's turn on current radar, not the future cast. And this covers that almost that exact same area. This is a different look at that same discussion zone, but it's almost that exact same area. So we are talking about widespread freezing rain this morning for coastal locations. So this isn't an event that's going to be. So if you're trying to travel, let's say up towards Montgomery County or Hagerstown or out towards Charlottesville, as you head out, the further out you get, you should be better. But it's really traveling within southern Maryland, really from Annapolis to Clinton, points south and east, really. So the kind of right up through here. This is really going to be the zone you're watching for some freezing. Oh, wait. I just know I need to take you over here so you can see what I'm drawing. I'm drawing over here for a little bit. So yeah, again, it's really this region up through here that we're watching for those ice concerns. And this is going to be the region, if we see icing, and we are seeing icing, that we're going to be looking at travel impacts. So if you travel anywhere in here, I wouldn't recommend it. Could you do it? Sure. I recommend no travel a lot over the last couple of weeks, and people still do it, and they are able to do it fine. So, and you just take my advice at your own risk, almost. There's a lot of patience. I'm an education major, so I think that kind of comes by virtue with that. I think people just want a direct answer to I could literally say St. Mary's County, 4 to 6 inches of snow. People still want to know, am I closer to 4 or 6? I mean, and I know a lot of people, we've been live now for about 15 minutes. They might just now be tuning in. So they haven't seen all 15 minutes. Could they go back and rewatch? Yes. But people just want direct answers to their questions. So, I get that, but try my best to address it as is. So, that's kind of what we're talking about this morning. We have temperatures right now sitting around freezing, so we'll continue to monitor the situation. I suspect we'll probably have a little bit more freezing rain, and we'll see higher impacts the closer we head towards daybreak. And I would expect by 7 to 8 o'clock this morning, we would see some more widespread issues. We're not talking a high impact ice storm, but we are talking about icing that's going to lead to slick spots and ice patches. So, stay tuned. I will keep you updated. I'm going to go brew a cup of coffee. It is still early for me. And yeah, we will just stay tuned. We covered here on Facebook, on Twitter at JB_weather, Instagram at JBweather, and on the website jbweather.net. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, and we will